The objective of today's Swing Quest lesson is to teach golfers a modern chipping technique based on some of the very best golfers in the world and the most renowned coaches. We're going to be focusing on precision, control, and confidence from all lies. First tip, build a solid setup for consistent trajectory and strike control. So the first thing we're going to look at is ball position. Now, when you're chipping, it's for shots which are just around the green, so we don't need a lot of power. So with the feet, rather than having a nice wide stance about shoulder width apart, what we're going to do is pull it in. So we want them quite close together, just a little bit of separation. Now, for most of the standard chips that we're going to be hitting, we want the ball position in the middle of the feet. If you want to hit the ball a little bit higher, we can move it forward. If you want the trajectory to be a little bit lower, we can have the ball position off the back toe. With weight distribution, we want to be putting about 70% of weight on the front foot, and we can really keep it there for most chip shots. And then we want the stance to be a little bit open to the target as well, just to help encourage that nice clean strike. So the second step is about refining technique. Now, one of the very best chippers in the world is Jason Day, and he uses a pendulum action where he moves the shoulders, the arms, and the body away in one motion and returns this structure back through impact. It's a very minimal wrist hinge type of technique, but this allows him to use the bounce and encourages a clean contact and not one where you dig the leading edge into the ground. So we're going to put the ball position in the center of the stance to begin with, and I've got a lob wedge here, so this will come out with quite a high flight. If I wanted to get it lower, I could use a lower loft or put the ball position back. Now, my weight is 70% on my front foot, and my hands here are slightly ahead of the ball. Now you can see here how my arms and my shoulders, they form a Y shape with the golf shaft. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my shoulders back without much wrist hinge. I'm going to turn my shoulders through without much wrist hinge, and you can see that Y shape has been maintained. All things being equal, with the setup that we've achieved, we should be able to have a nice clean contact. Oh, thank the chipping gods! For the first time in history, we have slam dunked a demonstration. Yes! Yes! What we're going to do here is I've switched over to my 50-degree wedge, and I'm just going to put the ball towards the back of the stance here, hit it at the bottom of the slope, and then let it roll up towards the hole. But the hands remain in the same position just opposite the left thigh, but because the ball position has moved back, this will be a slightly steeper angle of attack. So keep that Y moving back and through. And let it roll up that slope. I tell you what, 2 in a row would have been good, wouldn't it? The second thing we're looking at here is low point control. Now, I just mentioned that Jason Day likes to use the bounce of the club, and he doesn't want to get too steep onto the ball. Now, that doesn't mean that through impact, the club isn't traveling slightly down. If we can hit the ball first and then bruise the turf, that's going to encourage nice spin, nice control, and the type of trajectories that we want to be seeing on chip shots. Now, Joseph Mayo, who is a renowned golf coach, he has shown through his data comparisons and the work that he's done that most of the very best chippers in the world hit down through impact, and yet they hit down without taking huge divots. So how is this achieved? So I've got a 54-degree wedge here, and it's just a very simple chip onto the green and then a roll down towards the hole. I'm going to be putting the ball position in the center of the stance, that 70% of weight on the front foot, and those hands slightly ahead. Now I'm going to be turning the Y shape back and the Y shape through, but what I'm not going to do is have a leading hand position like this. I'm going to allow the body to turn through and up. It's one of the biggest fallacies in golf that you have to keep your head down when hitting shots if you want to get a clean contact. Allowing the body to pivot upwards through the point of impact will ensure a nice clean strike. We'll throw up some videos here of Luke Donald, for example, one of the very best chippers and pitchers in the world, and you can see through impact how he pivots up. So we have that set up, that Y to Y shape, just like Jason Day. and a nice pivot up through impact. Oh my word, I just cannot stop hitting this pin. So ball position here, center of the stance, a little bit of weight forward, hands opposite the left thigh, that Y to Y, not much wrist hinge, and just allow the turn and the body to move up through the point of impact. And the ball will just pop up and travel towards the pin. Let's just get one just on the green. And rolling out. It's a very simple, repeatable action, and it's using the bounce of the club. We don't want it digging, we just want it glancing off the turf after the ball. Thirdly, we're going to be looking at creativity, and this is something that Tiger Woods really does emphasize. It's about letting the lie dictate the shot. So how many times have you gone up to a green, you've brought a single club with you without even looking at the lie? It happens all the time. But if I bring a lob wedge out here and you come down here, Sam, and the ball, say, is sat up absolutely perfectly. If I have a lob wedge here and I slide the club underneath the ball, it's going to pop up so high. I could take a 54 degree here or a 50 degree and actually get it running a little bit lower and a little bit quicker towards the pin. Or likewise, let's say we get up to the green and the ball is nestled like this against the collar. That is absolutely disgusting and will strike fear into most golfers. In this circumstance, I might even bring a hybrid to the green. Like, that'd be a great way to get that strike more consistent. So what we're going to say here is, around the green, practice from different lies. Let the lie dictate the type of shot that you're trying to hit. So for example, we've got to the side of the green here, it's a nice tight lie, so I should be able to get spin. And because it's on a bit of a downslope, it might actually funnel to the right-hand side. There's a bit of a slope here, just as we get onto the green, that I wouldn't mind flying it over. So I've got my lob wedge. So I'm going to pick my landing point. There's just a little bit of grass there on the green. I want to get this a little bit higher, so I'm going to put the ball towards the front of my stance. That's 70% of weight on the left, hands just ahead of the ball, Y to Y shape. Allow myself to pivot up, try and land it on that spot. Oh, it's just a bit left. Come around to the right. Oh, I just missed it. Great for length though. I think I might have used up all my great chip shots with that slam dunk. So I've missed this green off to the right-hand side, and with this bunker in the way, if the ball goes to the back of the stance and I strike down too much, the trajectory is going to be too low. Might even hit the face of the bunker. So I know I need to hit it high. So I can put the ball off my front toe, again, hands level with the left thigh. But what if I opened up the face a little bit more? So I added some loft, opened up the feet just a little bit as well to compensate, and then used exactly the same technique. Y to Y, let's see if it pops up. God, that was a good strike. Now the first drill we're going to look at to try and encapsulate a lot of the feelings that we've spoken about today is a towel drill. It's very simple to set up. It might not be as easy to do, especially if you're used to fatting or thinning your chips. So as you can see, I've set up the towel here behind the ball, and it's about half a grip length away. And the whole point of this drill is to bruise the ground after the ball without hitting the towel. This is a great drill as far as visualization is concerned, but also it gives you feedback. If you were to hit a chip shot and the club bottoms out too early, you're going to clip the towel. What we want to see is a strike of the ball first, a slight bruising of the ground afterwards. So we don't want to see the towel being hit. The only issue that I found with this drill is that if you move the ball too close, the towel will be moved on the backswing. So if you're afraid of that, a nice little way to counteract it is to get yourself set up. You can see here the ball has been moved much closer to the edge of the towel, but actually start the drill with the club on the edge like so, and then just complete as normal. Hands again, just opposite the left thigh, ball position in the center, weight forward. However, for a lot of people, this drill can still be quite restrictive. So if you don't want to use a towel, if you go to your local building merchants and pick yourself up a chalk line, you can also draw a chalk line on the grass as well, manually if you want. And just imagine that that line is on the edge of where the towel is located at the moment. So you can repeat the same drill, not hitting the chalk line, or even better, you can move the ball onto the chalk line and then just try and ensure a strike after that point. So you imagine where that chalk line is, getting yourself set up and just try and brush the ground after that line. The second practice drill to really improve your creativity and get better off different lies is a drill that Tiger Woods uses and so many other pros use as well. If at all possible, find yourself a green that you can practice your chipping around. You can do it out on the golf course as well, but just make sure there's no angry 4-ball behind you. And what you want to be doing is finding 9 different locations around the green, each of them with a slightly different lie or a slightly different challenge. Your goal is to get up and down as many times as possible. Mark down your score and then repeat 2 or 3 times. If it is a practice green, you can come back to it week after week and try and improve your score. It is the best way to learn how the ball will react out of different lies. So the key takeaways from today's lesson: we want to be able to have a simple technique. Also, using a Jason Day type of action with minimal wrist hinge can really help simplify things even further. We want to be controlling low point, so where the club hits the ground. Ideally, it is at or just after the ball, and we want to be having a nice shallow contact. The club is still going to be moving down, but if you allow yourself to pivot upwards, it should allow you to control that low point even better. Lastly, we want to be able to get that variation, play from different lies around the green, because that is the ideal way to improve. And if you put yourself in more difficult situations, you will improve faster. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the Swing Quest channel already, please do. And if you want to continue learning and improving, check out these videos here.